My wife suggested an open marriage, and now she regrets it. For the first 5 years of our marriage, I thought we were happy. Sure, we had our ups and downs, but we were solid. At least, that's what I believed. Until my wife, Jessica, blindsided me with a suggestion that shattered everything I thought I knew about our relationship. It happened one evening after dinner. We were sitting on the couch, casually watching a show, when she turned to me and said, "Have you ever thought about an open marriage?" I laughed at first, thinking she was joking. But when I looked at her face, I realized she was completely serious. My stomach dropped. "What are you talking about?" I asked, my voice already tight with unease. Jessica sighed, acting as if this was a normal conversation topic. "I just mean, we've been together for a long time. Maybe it wouldn't be such a bad idea to explore a little, you know? It doesn't mean we don't love each other. It's just about being open and honest." I stared at her, unable to process what she was saying. "You want to sleep with other people?" She rolled her eyes. "It's not just about that. It's about experiencing new things, keeping things fresh." She reached for my hand as if that would soften the blow. "I love you, but don't you ever wonder what else is out there?" No, I didn't. I never had. I felt like I'd been punched in the gut. The woman I had committed my life to, the woman who once told me I was all she ever wanted, was now asking for permission to be with other men. I pulled my hand away. "So, what? You've already met someone?" Her expression darkened. "No, this isn't about anyone in particular. I just think relationships evolve, and maybe we should be open to that." I wanted to say no. I wanted to stand my ground. But a small, ugly thought crept into my mind. If I refuse, will she just cheat behind my back instead? Jessica noticed my hesitation and pushed further. "Look, this isn't about replacing you. It's about us being honest and not feeling trapped. We can make our own rules. No secrets, no lies." I swallowed hard. "And if I say no?" She hesitated. That tiny pause told me everything. "If you really don't want to, then I'll drop it," she said, but there was something off in her voice. Like she had already made up her mind. I felt cornered. If I refused, I risked her resenting me. If I agreed, I'd be opening a door that could never be closed. After a long silence, I exhaled slowly. "Fine. If this is what you want, then let's do it." I didn't realize it at the time, but that was the moment my marriage began to fall apart. The first few days after I agreed to the open marriage felt off. Jessica was suddenly in a great mood, almost giddy. She acted like nothing had changed between us, but I could feel a shift in the air. I, on the other hand, was a mess. I couldn't shake the feeling that I had just made the biggest mistake of my life. At first, neither of us did anything. There were no immediate hookups or late-night disappearances. But Jessica started dressing up more when she went out. She spent extra time doing her makeup, started going to the gym more frequently, and even bought new outfits, sexier ones. Then came the first weekend. She told me she was meeting up with some friends for drinks, but I knew better. She had that nervous excitement about her, the kind I recognized from when we first started dating. That night, she came home late. Too late. I was sitting in bed when she walked in, looking flushed and slightly disheveled. "Had fun?" I asked, my voice flat. She hesitated, then nodded. "Yeah, it was nice." I didn't push. I didn't ask. I just nodded and turned off the lamp, pretending to sleep. But I didn't sleep. My mind raced all night, picturing her with someone else. Imagining the way she laughed, the way she touched him. The betrayal gnawed at me, even though I had technically agreed to it. And yet, she acted like everything was normal. That's when I realized something. She had expected this to be a one-sided arrangement. Jessica thought she could have her fun while I just stayed home, waiting for her. She had assumed I wouldn't actually go out and see someone myself. And that's when I decided to flip the script. The next morning, I casually mentioned I had plans for the night. Jessica looked up from her coffee. "Oh? With who?" I shrugged. "Just someone I met online." Her expression flickered, just for a second. "Oh, okay. Well, have fun." But I could tell she wasn't as comfortable with it as she pretended to be. That night, I went out. I wasn't even planning to do anything serious, but I met a woman named Emily at a bar. She was beautiful, confident, and, most importantly, interested in me. For the first time since this whole disaster started, I felt wanted again. Jessica was still awake when I got home. She was sitting on the couch, watching TV, but I could tell she hadn't been watching anything at all. "How was your night?" she asked, her voice too casual. I smirked. It was nice. I saw the way her jaw clenched. She didn't like this. Not one bit. And that's when I knew this open marriage wasn't going to go the way she expected. The dynamic between Jessica and me had completely changed. Before, she walked around with this confident, almost smug attitude, acting like the open marriage was her ticket to an exciting new life. But now that I was seeing someone too, that confidence was starting to crack. At first, she tried to hide it. She still went out a couple of times, but she was no longer as eager to share details about her nights. And when I came home late, I noticed she would wait up for me, just like she had the first time. One evening, after I got back from a dinner date with Emily, Jessica was sitting on the couch, scrolling through her phone, but I could tell she wasn't really focused. "How was your night?" she asked, keeping her tone neutral. "Great," I said casually. "Emily and I went to this amazing little Italian place. She's really fun to be around." Jessica's grip on her phone tightened. "Oh, that's nice." There it was again, that flicker of discomfort. I decided to push a little further. "She actually reminds me of when you and I first started dating. That same kind of energy, you know?" Jessica's eyes snapped up. "What's that supposed to mean?" I shrugged. "Nothing bad. Just exciting, I guess." Jessica didn't respond right away. Instead, she stood up abruptly. "I'm going to bed." I smirked as I watched her leave. She wasn't enjoying this anymore. Over the next few weeks, I noticed a pattern. Jessica started going out less. At first, she claimed she was just tired from work. Then she said she wasn't really connecting with anyone. One night, she stayed home while I went out. When I got back, I found her in the kitchen, pretending to be busy with the dishes. "How was your date?" she asked without turning around. "Really good," I said, leaning against the counter. "Emily and I have a lot in common. It's nice having someone who's into the same things as me." She was scrubbing a plate so hard I thought it might crack. I tilted my head. "Something wrong?" She forced a smile. "No, why would there be?" But I could tell. The regret was creeping in. She had expected to be the one in control, the one who enjoyed the benefits while I sat at home, miserable. Now that the roles were reversed, she wasn't handling it well. The real breaking point came a few days later. I was getting ready for another date, putting on a nice shirt and fixing my hair. Jessica sat on the bed, watching me in silence. "Going out again?" she finally asked. "Yep." She hesitated, then spoke carefully. "You're really spending a lot of time with her." I turned to look at her. "Isn't that the whole point of an open marriage?" She bit her lip. "Yeah, but doesn't it feel like you're getting serious?" I raised an eyebrow. "Why do you care?" She didn't answer right away. Then, in a quieter voice, she muttered, "I don't know. I thought this would be different." I crossed my arms. "Different how?" She sighed. "I guess I thought we'd both just have some fun. But it feels like you're really connecting with her." I let her words hang in the air for a moment. Then I smirked. "Sounds like you're jealous." She scoffed. "I'm not jealous." But we both knew that was a lie. And for the first time since this whole mess started, I knew I had the upper hand. Jessica was unraveling. Ever since she realized I was actually enjoying the open marriage, her whole demeanor had changed. She had lost her confidence, and her once bold attitude had been replaced by insecurity. She no longer went out on dates. Instead, she stayed home, scrolling through her phone, occasionally glancing at me when she thought I wasn't looking. One night, after I came back from a weekend getaway with Emily, I walked into the house to find Jessica sitting at the kitchen table, a glass of wine in front of her. She looked up as I entered. "So, how was your little trip?" Her voice was casual, but her fingers were gripping the stem of the glass tightly. I set my bag down. "It was great. We went hiking, had dinner by the lake. Just a really relaxing time." Jessica scoffed. "Wow, sounds like a honeymoon." I smirked. "Jealous?" She rolled her eyes, but I could see the way her jaw tightened. "I just think it's funny," she said bitterly. You never used to take me on romantic trips like that. I leaned against the counter. Well, maybe because you never appreciated what we had. You wanted excitement, remember? She stayed quiet, staring at her wine glass. Then, in a small voice, she said, "Do you even love me anymore?" Her question caught me off guard. A few months ago, if she had asked me that, I wouldn't have hesitated to say yes. But now? Now, I wasn't so sure. I sighed. I don't know, Jessica. You wanted an open marriage. Now you don't seem to like the results. Her eyes glistened, but she quickly blinked away the tears. I thought it would be different. Yeah? And what did you think would happen? She swallowed hard. I thought we'd both have fun, but at the end of the day, we'd still come home to each other. I never thought you'd actually fall for someone else. I shook my head. That's the thing, Jessica. You were so eager to explore other people, but the moment I do the same, suddenly it's not so fun anymore? She wiped at her eyes. I made a mistake. I sighed. Yeah, you did. Jessica started trying to fix things. She became overly affectionate, something she never used to be. She cooked my favorite meals, wore lingerie to bed, and kept trying to initiate deep conversations about our relationship. But I wasn't falling for it. One night, while I was getting ready to see Emily, Jessica grabbed my hand. "Can't you just stay home tonight?" she asked softly. I pulled my hand away. "Why?" "Because I miss you," she whispered. I gave her a long look. "You didn't seem to miss me when you were out on your dates." She winced, but I wasn't going to let her rewrite history. "You wanted this, Jessica," I continued. "I gave you what you asked for. Now you have to deal with the consequences." She looked like she wanted to argue, but she didn't. Instead, she just watched as I walked out the door. I didn't feel guilty. She had gambled with our marriage, and she was losing. Jessica was spiraling, and it was painfully obvious. She had gone from confidently embracing an open marriage to trying everything to make me stay. But it was too late. Things between us weren't the same anymore. One evening, after I got home from a date with Emily, Jessica was waiting for me in the living room. She was dressed up, like she used to when we first started dating. The scent of my favorite perfume filled the air, and the dining table was set with candles and dinner. "Wow," I said, raising an eyebrow. "What's this?" She bit her lip. "I just wanted us to have a night together. Just us. No distractions, no other people. Just us." I hesitated. I could see the desperation in her eyes, but part of me felt nothing but resentment. Still, I sat down, and we ate in silence for a while. Then, she put her fork down and looked at me. "Can we end this? The open marriage, I mean." I took a sip of my drink. "Why now?" She exhaled sharply. "Because I hate it. I hate knowing you're with someone else. I thought I wanted this, but I didn't. I was stupid." I leaned back in my chair. "So now that you're not enjoying it, you want to go back to how things were?" She nodded quickly. "Yes. I want us to be how we used to be." I shook my head. "Jessica, we'll never be how we used to be." She looked like she had been slapped. "But why? I love you, and I know I messed up, but we can fix this." I sighed. "No, we can't." She swallowed hard, her hands trembling. "Is it because of her? Emily?" I hesitated before answering. "Partly." Jessica's face crumpled. "Do you love her?" I thought about it for a moment. Then, I nodded. "I think I do." Tears welled up in her eyes. "So, that's it? You're leaving me?" I sighed. "Jessica, you opened this door. You made me see that there's more out there. And honestly, I don't think I can ever trust you the same way again." She wiped at her face, her shoulders shaking. "I was so stupid," she whispered. "I ruined everything." I didn't say anything. I just sat there, watching as reality finally hit her. She had destroyed our marriage with her own hands. And now, she was facing the consequences. Jessica tried everything to fix our marriage after that conversation. She suggested counseling, romantic getaways, even completely cutting contact with the guy she had been seeing. But none of it mattered. The damage was done. One night, as we sat in the living room, the silence between us was unbearable. She looked at me with red-rimmed eyes, like she hadn't slept in days. "Please," she whispered, "tell me what I can do to fix this." I sighed, running a hand down my face. "Jessica, I don't think you can." Her lip quivered. "You're really leaving me, aren't you?" I hesitated, but then I nodded. "Yeah, I am. Tears streamed down her face. I thought opening our marriage would make us stronger. I thought it would be exciting. She choked back a sob. But all it did was push you away. I stood up. It wasn't just the open marriage. It was the way you went about it. You pushed me into something I didn't want. You were selfish. She buried her face in her hands. I know. God, I know. There was nothing left to say. The next week, I moved out. Jessica begged me to reconsider until the very end, but I knew I had made the right decision. As for Emily, things between us continued naturally. She never pressured me for anything, never pushed me to move faster than I was ready for. She just understood, and for the first time in a long time, I felt truly happy. Jessica and I finalized our divorce months later. She sent me a long message apologizing for everything, admitting that she had destroyed something beautiful out of greed and stupidity. I never responded, because by then, I had already moved on. Jessica thought she could have it all, a husband who loved her and the thrill of being with other men. But when the tables turned, she realized she wasn't as open-minded as she believed. She thought I would always be there, no matter what. She was wrong. But what do you think? Did I make the right decision by leaving her? Or should I have tried harder to save the marriage? Let me know in the comments.